Maybe it's not exactly the B2C, right? Like the person that you want to sell directly to on LinkedIn, but maybe it's more of that B2B mindset where who do you know or who can you connect with or get in front of where their audience is your ideal clients. Maybe you want to connect with other podcasters because you know that getting on their shows, if you're in a particular niche or industry, will help get you access to their audience who are in fact your ideal clients. So maybe you need to be looking not directly for where your ideal customer hangs out, but where these other business people that you can partner with, like podcasters, would be hanging out. Maybe you're looking up hashtags that are more related to podcasters, and then you're getting in it that way.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us at another episode of the Speakers Collaborative Studio Sessions. My name is Cody Hand, founder and producer of the Speakers Collaborative, which is an innovative platform for future up-and-coming speakers to get the stage they want. We built a stage. You all should get on it. I'm so excited today to have one of our experts with us, Lindsay Mitrosilis, whose name I always mispronounce. She'll correct us when she gets on, is going to join us. Lindsay does LinkedIn profile optimization for public speakers. I get asked all the time, do I need an agent? Classically, yes, everybody needs an agent, but there are things that you can do yourself before you get an agent to start getting those speaking gigs. And maybe you don't even need one after you get the ball rolling. So I want to welcome right now to the stage, Lindsay, and Lindsay's going to tell us how to pronounce her last name.
You said it properly.
Don't tell Teddy.
You said it great.
Awesome. Thank you. Welcome to the show, Lindsay. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for having me, Cody. This is great.
Thanks for being on. Okay, so we're going to spend a couple of minutes just getting to know who you are and what you do. So if you will, you can pronounce your name the way you like it pronounced. Tell us your name, where you are, give us an interesting fact or two about you, and maybe what you like to do when you're on stage speaking or when you're advising your clients. Give us a little intro into Lindsay.
Okay. My name is Lindsay Mitrosilis. I am in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, but originally from California. Interesting fact. I have 2 children who are my whole world. Man, this is always a hard one for me. What have other people said before? Interesting facts.
Any hobbies?
Sourdough. Newly found hobby is sourdough. Yep.
Did you start your own starter?
I started my own starter. You know what? It's just so interesting. And I have found that there's actually a lot of parallels with starting a sourdough starter and starting a business.
Oh, and you've done that before several times.
I've done that. Yes, I've done that before. So, yes. What was the other question? So yeah, sourdough starter is one of my little hobbies.
We're going to come back to that.
Okay.
We're coming back to that. All right. So the other question was, I know you also are a public speaker. Mm-hmm. You give your fair share of public talks. What's your favorite topic to tell your audience about?
I know I nerd out on this, but I really, really love talking about LinkedIn, and I love talking about sales. Those are like 2 things to my core that I really, really believe in. And it doesn't even have to be about business. I think sales can be how you talk to your kids. If you're a pastor, speaking to your congregation, if you're a manager, speaking to your team and getting them fired up about your vision, those skills are sales skills. And then on the other side of this whole LinkedIn topic, I'm a big believer in that your network is everything. Your network is your net worth. It's all about who you know and also who knows you. And so LinkedIn is one of my favorite places to hang out. It's my favorite place to tell people to go to and do all that online, because I think you and I basically met through LinkedIn too. Mm-hmm. I've met so many wonderful people and built so many great relationships on LinkedIn.
That's awesome. If you'd asked me 3 years ago about LinkedIn, I would have said, yeah, I think I have an account. And now I know that I'm on it at least an hour a day.
Yep.
Cultivating business, looking for new clients, promoting the work that I do. And I never would have imagined saying these words to new acquaintances that I meet in person. Are you on LinkedIn? Right? Wow. That's a question I ask everybody. Are you on LinkedIn? And if their answer is no, then my next question is, why not? So I'm excited about what you are going to tell us today, Lindsay, not only about sourdough, but also about how to get our profiles up to snuff so that as prospective booking agents look for speakers, we're
Yep.
easy to find.
Mhm.
Right. I do think that being an agent or having an agent is important, but I think there are plenty of ways to get speaking engagements without having an agent at all. And so I'm really excited about what you're going to tell us. You were able to come to our last production of the Speakers Collaborative.
Mhm.
So tell me just real quick for those who are kind of questioning what it is and what it means to the audience, because you're in the audience.
Sure.
Just give me your initial impression of what the Speakers Collaborative was.
I think it's a great environment for not only an audience member to look at a speaker and the process and their speech in a different way because of how it's set up, right? You're coming to watch speakers speak, but also for the speakers to, I know there's a few different things that you do with the Speakers Collaborative, but I just thought it was such a cool environment for speakers to test their talk, to get real-time feedback. A lot of speakers don't get that opportunity, right? A lot of people, I mean, sure, they get the opportunity if they talk to some of the audience members after. No one's really giving this genuine feedback of like, hey, this and that, this was probably a 3 out of 5 for me here, and here's what I thought about this. No one's giving you that kind of feedback normally. But in this setting, you really do get to tailor, audience feedback with what you're passionate about, what you're building your talk on, and it just all works together. Plus all the other additional, content things that you give to your speakers. I think it's wonderful, and I'm excited to sign up for the next one that you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And what Lindsay's talking about is, after every speaker, there's a period of time where we send questions to the audience on their cell phones. So you're asked a series of questions that you get to weigh in with the audience. We give real-time feedback. We give testimonials. So it's not what I was used to as a speaker is you say thank you from the stage, and then maybe somebody intercepts you on the way out the back door or on the way to the reception, but you very rarely get that real-time feedback. We solicit that intentionally because we're not just looking to give talks. We're looking to grow our speakers and grow our audiences. So thank you for that, Lindsay.
Yeah.
We love here at the studio sessions, we love to give our guests 5 minutes to just talk to our audience directly. Cool. And just everybody, I try to prep our guests for that. So hopefully Lindsay's got something going for us. So I'm going to just turn the floor over. I'm going to go off camera and give Lindsay the next 5 minutes. Lindsay, I would love to know from you, from your heart, what it means to be a public speaker, what you can do as a speaker on your social media to make sure that your message is getting front and center, and anything else you want to share with us. I would love to hear from you. So I'm going to head off camera and give you the stage.
Awesome. Thanks. Well, thank you all so much for jumping on with us, or if you're watching the replay. I really do feel like when you are a public speaker, and this doesn't mean that you are, a full-time public speaker, anytime you've got the opportunity to share a message or share a story and impact just one on the other side of that screen, on the other side of that stage, apron, if you will, and somebody in the audience, that is so powerful. And I think a lot of speakers would agree that is the reason why we do what we do. We just want to impact one more, let alone a whole audience, right? And so one of the things I feel very passionately about is, of course, honing your message, honing your topic. But how do you get yourself out there so that you can be found? Did you know that there are 1.1 million events in the US each year? And this is given, put on by associations, local communities, big conferences, and almost all of them need a speaker. If only 1% hired you, you would never be able to fill all of those opportunities. And so why I like to tell people those numbers is that you have so much out there to go after. But the important thing is, who knows you? How are you being found? How are you putting yourself out there as a speaker? And so that's why I'm very, very passionate about kind of the sales skills, tying them with your LinkedIn skills. And Cody, I don't know if this is where we want to talk through some details about your LinkedIn profile and such, but I'll just kind of share some big picture numbers and then we can get into those finer details if you want, Cody. But essentially, 44% of LinkedIn members make over $75,000 a year, which means to you that that is the highest paying audience you have access to, more so than Facebook and Twitter X. And why that's important is, again, not everybody's going to be a full-time, high paid speaker, but if you do want to get something for, the talks that you're giving, this truly is the place that you want to spend the time to create content for and build the network on. Another interesting statistic that I love to share with people is it's truly about when it comes down to like creating content for LinkedIn, right? So it's not just about your profile. It's not just about making connections, but how are you talking about your brand? How are you presenting yourself? It's really going to be through your content on a daily basis. That's what people are getting to really understand about you. They're reading your content, your thoughts, your opinions. And the biggest thing for me that I love to talk about with groups is thought leadership content. And this is why this is so important. Thought leadership content is what is directly tied to you booking more speaking gigs, more sales. I'm going to share some information about that really quick. So 75% of buyers, so this could be for you, if you're a speaker, directors of corporate events or event managers or corporate event planners, right? 75% of buyers say that thought leadership content is what helps them determine who they want to buy from now or in the future. Okay, 75% of buyers say that thought leadership content is what helps them determine who they want to buy from now or in the future. I'm going to define thought leadership content here in just a second. 8 out of 10 buyers say that thought leadership content is what helps them determine who they want to learn from. This is huge for speakers. I mean, let alone for selling, right? Because that's really where we can build trust with our audience, but especially as a speaker. If you can develop thought leadership content over and over and over on the platform for your audience, you are now starting to be seen as the go-to person for the thing that you like to speak on. 8 out of 10 buyers say that thought leadership content is what helps them determine who they want to learn from. And lastly, almost 50% of business decision makers, hello LinkedIn, business decision makers say that thought leadership content is what helps them determine who they want to do business with, who they want to partner with. Now, if I'm speaking to a group of speakers right now, you all know that you've got maybe years, right? I mean, you've got corporate events managers, directors of corporate events, years of planning for different events coming up. What if you were the MC for the next 5 years of engagements that they had? What if you were the speaker that they booked every single year as a keynote because they loved your brand, your messaging, how you inspire their audience? It's so aligned with their company and their vision and their goals. It doesn't have to be just one-off speaking events. It could be a series of events. All right. And why I say that business decision makers, I want to say like 85% of business decision makers are on LinkedIn. So when Cody asked me about myself, what I'm passionate about, it is about LinkedIn and it is about sales coming together. This truly is one of the best platforms for you to grow, to network, to find opportunities, to build all the things that you're looking for. Cody, talk to me. Oh, wait, you're muted.
Sure was. That is awesome. Lindsay, thank you so much for that. So my question is, I am an amateur speaker. I go through the Speakers Collaborative. What are the top 3 things that I need to do to my LinkedIn profile to optimize it for my future as a public speaker?
Sure. I would say your headline, which your headline is search engine optimized. A lot of people will, fill in a couple emojis. They'll maybe put a hashtag in there. They'll talk about their transformation statement, which is, of course, the I help so-and-sos get to where blah, blah, blah. This is also a little bit of a matter of opinion, but the fact is that is an SEO place on your profile and you want to use it for SEO keywords. So you really want to build out your headline with keywords that somebody would be Googling to find a speaker like you. If you do motivational keynotes, about leadership, if you do keynotes about hormone replacement therapy for women in corporate, that's very specific. What I would tell you is buzzing. That's me here. Okay.
Okay.
What I would tell you is that we want to make sure that we're very clear and not cute or clever in this headline. So use keywords that people are likely searching for, not something that you kind of deem yourself as, right? Like I'm not the LinkedIn guru. No one's looking for that. They're looking for a LinkedIn expert, consultant, coach. Okay. The second thing is building out your about section. Your about section should be written in first person. And this really is a mini sales page for how you or what you talk about and all those things, but you really want to make sure you're hitting on your ideal audience or your ideal client, which would maybe be a corporate event planner, event manager, what their biggest challenge is and what their biggest goal is. Now you would, optimize that for whatever audience you're targeting, and then build out about why you, what makes you qualified. Have you worked with big name brands or corporations, or are you certified in certain things that give you the reason to speak on this topic? And then the third thing, I'd say for speakers, it's actually your featured section on your profile. We want to make sure we're pinning your speaker reel so that people have access to that. We want to make sure we can get to your website quickly. And then I love people creating an article on LinkedIn that goes deeper about their story or whatever you think is most important to give to a buyer that you're just not going to put on a normal post or you're not going to put somewhere on your profile, but share your story and then pin that article so people can get the full spectrum of who you are very quickly. That's what I would say.
Wow. That is a lot of free content that you just gave a lot of people. So I really appreciate that, Lindsay. Thank you so much. Going back to sourdough, but not really. Tell me, what are you reading these days?
It's a really great question. I actually just had coffee with a friend, and we are together going to go through 360 Degree Leader by John Maxwell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also reading Day Trading Attention by Gary Vaynerchuk. Day Trading Attention, really good, especially if you are in the content game, which everybody here is. If you are on LinkedIn, if you're on any social platform, I highly recommend the book, because content today, and we can talk about thought leadership content since I kind of put a pin in that. Content today is not the same as content 2, 3, 4 years ago. You could kind of throw spaghetti at the wall 3, 4 years ago. Today, when you are going to make a post, you only have a certain amount of time and attention from others and from people on the platforms that you're on. So you need to be very thoughtful, intentional, and strategic with how you create content, what time you post it, what it looks like, etc. This book is really, really good about content today.
So I guess that goes back to my next question, which is, what do you recommend we read? Which I think you just did.
Yes, I do recommend that book. The other book I got to give a shout out. This is a book I recommend all the time. It doesn't matter. It's a book called Why She Buys by a woman named Bridget Brennan. It's a wonderful book. I send it to almost everybody I come in contact with. It's a very good book. And it is about, if you like and enjoy the understanding and psychological sales aspect, it's a really, really good book.
Okay. Awesome.
And follow Bridget on LinkedIn. She has really great content.
Well, I think we should follow Bridget, but I think we need to make sure that we follow you. And the fun part about knowing you like I do is I know that what you were just walking us through as far as our profile optimization, you actually do for a living. And so for those of you who just don't know where to start or don't have the bandwidth to do it, I would highly recommend that you contact Lindsay. She is all over LinkedIn. I'm going to put her name up here real quick so you can just see it and Google her, because she does amazing work. And she's not one of those who is going to say, I'll do it for you, but I need you to pay me monthly for the next 10 years. It's a really great package. It's called a done for you package. And so I would highly recommend you look at Lindsay if you get the chance. Lindsay, what questions do you have for me?
Oh, questions I have. Can I finish saying one thing about thought leadership content?
Please do. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
it's
yeah.
obviously-
Unpin that one and talk about that.
Okay, wonderful. What I would say to you about thought leadership content, and Cody, I think you'd probably agree with me, right? Thought leadership content is the content you create, that you post, that continues to compound for your audience who you want to be known as and known for, what you want to be known for. So what do you want people to think of you? Like, I've done this for 4 or 5 years now. People are like, oh, Lindsay, LinkedIn. Like, it's just because I've done it, just compounded over time. But really, the thought leadership content that you create, it's the stuff that you get the most excited about, that you likely put in the most amount of time, you get super nerdy on, you can go really deep on. And let me tell you something, it's the content that gets the least amount of engagement, the least amount of likes, the least amount of comments on the platform, but you will hear about it in text, in phone calls, in emails, and in passing in conversation. It's likely the content that's actually going to make your audience take action to give you a call and hire you, or give you business, or refer you to somebody. So don't let content like that discourage you from continuing to post and be seen as the person that you want to be seen in the niche that you want to be seen in. I just love to get that encouragement to people, because I think that's where the content, people start to fall off. And I'm telling you, it's the stuff that's actually building you up in people's minds.
So to paraphrase completely, don't worry about feeding the algorithm beast. Worry about getting your own expertise out there.
Yes. And I
agree with that. Yeah. Because I've noticed some of my content that gets the least amount of engagement is usually what I get the phone call about.
I hear that so many times from people. The other thing I would tell you too, and just to encourage folks who are getting started on the platform, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this too, Cody, is, let's say, this is why LinkedIn is so powerful. You can be very intentional with who you connect with and who you reach out to, and therefore who you are making content for. So let's say, that your audience, your ideal audience or client is event managers within the tech space, right? You can get that specific. You can go connect with event planners at Adobe, Microsoft, Cisco, and Uber, okay? And let's say you connect with 500 people of those job titles at those companies in 1 month. Isn't that so powerful to know that you've got a room of 500 people? Because a lot of people in the content game, we start getting worried about impressions and this and that and our audience growth and all those things. But if you were just very intentional with who you connect with and who you build your content for, now, think about being in a room of 500 people that you can sell to from stage. It's the exact same thing.
That's right.
That's all I want to encourage people with.
Well, and I love I love the thought of something going viral just because it means that enough people liked it. But at the same time, I can't do business with 100,000 people. I need 2, 3, right? I need 5 in any given location. Yep. I don't need 100,000. I can't manage that. Nobody can. So that's really good. Any other questions on thought leadership content?
For me?
Yeah. Any other comments on thought leadership content? Sorry.
Well, I'd love to know your perspective. Do you have any thoughts on thought leadership content or styles, things you're seeing on LinkedIn? Because you're killing it on LinkedIn too.
I appreciate it. Yes and no. So first and foremost, I think you have to, I rejected it for the longest time. When I started my own firm, I'm a fractional general counsel. I'm a lobbyist. I'm a public speaker. I'm a travel agent. I do all this stuff, right? And I didn't want to niche down. I did not want to focus on one of those silos because I really liked everything else. Mm-hmm. The challenge with that is you can't talk to any audience that way, right? You said it really good earlier. Talk to the people that you want to hire you. And it doesn't matter if millions of people see it. You need the people that want to hire you to see it. And so I noticed when I started really focusing in on one topic, and for a long time, it was on crisis planning, because one of my business lines is crisis proofing your business. I got a lot of calls on that. And then when I got enough of that business and I really wanted to grow the Speakers Collaborative, I focused on that. And my engagement on both is really good. No, the thing I'm worried about, Lindsay, frankly, is I don't want to be a public speaker only talking about the Speakers Collaborative. That's a project of mine. It's a passion of mine, but that's not what my expertise is yet. I am an expert in managing your business and in crisis communications. And my fear is that by going all in on the collaborative, I'm now missing out on the audience that would hire me to talk about crisis comms. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, we have a really good question. I'm going to put it up here. What about engagement? I have a small following, but they are very engaged.
What about it? That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah. I'm curious actually if this audience member would be willing to share a little bit more, because if the overall question is like, should we be measuring engagement versus impressions versus followers? I would say, again, I'll wait for this person's second half of the question to come through, but I would say if you have high engagement and a small amount of audience, you have a very, very bought in network and community, which is extremely powerful. I think most people who have large audiences and very little engagement would much rather have your situation than their current situation of a lot of followers and little engagement.
Yeah, I think ideally you want your engagement and your audience to be the same number, really. For me, well, here it goes. We're told we need to have a huge following.
Says who?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that I'm going to put this other one up here because I think that answers it.
Yeah.
The algorithm beast. I think as long as you're serving your purposes, you're probably good.
Yeah. I think this is talked about more so, interestingly enough, on Instagram. Well, you'll see a lot of people kind of talk about don't get caught up in the vanity metrics, blah, 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 blah. And you're seeing it a little bit here and more on LinkedIn. But I think it's personally this dopamine hit, like, oh, we just got a huge, a post that got a bunch of engagement, or wow, we've got a bunch of followers. And I just go back to, you have to set the metrics that are most important to you. If it's that you're actually closing more speaking deals, you're having more intentional conversations with event managers or event planners, or fill in the blank with whatever ideal client you have, that's truly the success that you're looking for on LinkedIn, not so much, all these different metrics. Of course, they are in some ways important, but they're not the most important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Impressions do not equal dollars in your bank account.
That's right. And I think you're so right. It would be great if I got paid per impression. I'd be rolling in it. Right. But I don't. Nobody does. And so, well, maybe they do. I don't know.
Some people do.
Yeah. Some people do. Not me.
Influencers.
So anyway, Lindsay.
Yes.
This time has gone by really fast. And I would love to keep going, but I want to be respectful of your time. What is one last piece of wisdom you would like to give to those watching?
I would say if you are not posting content on LinkedIn, or you're not actively reaching out to, your ideal client, just make one right move. So for you, if that's okay, you've got to get over that hurdle of creating that piece of content, create the piece of content and post it, and just move on and just keep going. If it's that you need to make, 25 connections, make the 25 connections. Just connect with people. Don't even worry about sending a message. Just connect with them. Build your audience. Make the next right move for you.
Awesome. Thank you. So we're out of time. Lindsay, I think we're going to have to do this again. Thank you so much. We've gotten a couple more comments. One I'm going to put up here because it's exactly what I want to say. Thank you, Lindsay.
Welcome.
The next Speakers Collaborative is August 27th in Frisco, Texas. It is not the last Speakers Collaborative. I'm now in talks to do one in Chicago, one in Colorado Springs, looking out in the California area. Lindsay has some connections out there that I'm looking at. We'll do another one here in North Carolina. It's not the last opportunity to get on stage. And remember, what's my tagline, Lindsay? You don't remember, do you? I built you a stage.
Is it crisis averted? Just kidding.
Oh, yeah, no. I built you a stage. Get on it. And for more information on that, on Lindsay, go to my LinkedIn. On the Speakers Collaborative, go to thespeakerscollaborative.com. And until next week, when we've got an alum of the Speakers Collaborative joining us at 3:00 next Tuesday Eastern Time, Thank you again, Lindsay, and thank you, everybody else. Have a great day.
Thank you.